He's progressing.
On record.
हम तो stuck है फिलहाल. Okay. You ready? So, Baba, I am currently approaching my quest of seeking the one through two processes. So one is chanting who am I? No, chanting Maha Mantra. And the second is exploring who am I. So to me it seems to be like who am I is exploring the one without having a ready-made answer, but you are seeking the answer through questioning, and eventually you would find the answer that he is the source or Krishna is the source.
Say it more precisely.
Okay. So it seems to me like who am I and chanting Maha Mantra or taking the Naam Jap are coming through two opposite directions. So the first is where who am I? I'm looking for an answer to this question. So when I keep looking for an answer, eventually I would find the source is the answer. And while chanting Naam or Maha Mantra is like assuming that Krishna is the source or is the answer, and then I repeat it and with love and devotion, and eventually I integrate that truth into my system. So this is looking for an answer, and this is assuming an answer and integrating it into the system. So now following both seems to be a little contradicting in the approach. So I wanted to know if I should just pick one way where I explore the answer to who am I, because when I'm doing who am I, this is not coming into picture and I get certain proficiency. But when I go for mantra chanting, I forget who am I. So that approach of mine gets weakened. So should I just choose one approach and go ahead with it instead of confusing with two approaches?
Foremost, Atam Naman to all the great sages who left behind such beautiful tools, ways to explore the inner. So, Atam Naman to Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi and Lord Krishna and their bhaktas through whom we know all such things. Now, before any opinion or anything is deduced from these approaches, it is important to understand what are these two things. They are different in approach and their method is also different. And they taste differently also. End of the day, they are like the food which provide nourishment to a person, but the taste is going to be different, at least in the starting. Once the food crosses your food pipe, thereafter the food is in hands of the system to process and give you nourishment. So similarly, these processes do throw certain questions like yours. So first of all, both the approaches have been have been followed by disciples in toto, which means if someone was, like in case of Ramana Maharshi, he has advocated, um, encouraged, inspired people around him to delve in themselves through this mean. So these people, at least a little that I have read about Bhagwan, all of them did not do any such chantings. They were mostly into that only. To the extent it reminds me of one small instance when few shepherds, people who, what are they called, shepherds, who take this goats and shepherds on shepherd ही कहते हैं. So so the ones, those people who were around Arunachala hill came to see Bhagwan while working on the hill, and the conversation proceeded where Bhagwan started talking about who am I. So when Bhagwan started talking about who am I, you can very well imagine who am I is a little complex thing to process, and these uneducated or little educated, maybe if they were, people were suddenly thrown in the way of who am I. How will they process? So one of Bhagwan Bhaktas who was sitting there after these people left, and they could not make head and tail about it, what Bhagwan was saying. Now imagine I have 2-3 goats to look after, and then I'm worried about rice, sugar, all such things in my life. While I'm contemplating all those, and a sadhu I come across says, find out who you are. I can find out where sugar is. I can find out other things, but how can I seriously explore this question of who am I? No way. But yet Bhagwan said that. So the disciple, after they left, said, Bhagwan, you happen to say this, but these fellows are not going to understand. What is the use of such teaching? Then Bhagwan said, look, I know only this way. I cannot take them round and around into other things and then bring back to who am I. I can only take them directly to the source. Now Bhagwan is Bhagwan. He is 100% correct. So he said there. So Bhagwan being Bhagwan, he could not suggest any other way. So he knows only the who am I way. So similarly, people who are into chanting or Naam Japa, if you look at any of their profiles, for example, Meera, do you think Meera would have ever taken a moment out, sat with closed eyes and said, who am I? It is anti-Krishna. But whether you go the way of Bhagwan or you go the chanting way, it is all about nourishing the soul. It's a food. Whether you eat a South Indian food or a North Indian, they are pretty opposite in their taste, but they both provide nourishment. So when we look at this question of how to apply or go about these, then they are two different things. They cannot produce or they cannot have similar approach. Who am I is just for deep contemplation. You contemplate, you go deeper and deeper with the question. You are not remembering anybody. You are not remembering Krishna or Rama or anybody else. No Tirupati, Balaji, any of the Bhagwans. I mean, I'm very short on them, don't know many of them. But anyways, you don't go around closing your eyes and start looking for them, no. Whereas if you go to the chanting path, it is just about remembering them. Then you are trying to forget yourself. Here in Who Am I, you are trying to know yourself. So they are very, very different. But they take you to the same. But that is only once we have reached, only those people can say they take us to the same who see the both sides of the coin. But for an amateur, may get confused that exactly what is this then. So between the two, it's just like we make choices about eating certain kind of foods based upon our appetite, our outlook, our understanding. Same way, one need to make a choice between the two. But they are different. So there shouldn't be any, if someone is trying to produce results like I'm very fond of kirtan. So my soul dances within the moment I hear kirtan, Guru Bani being sung, especially someone singing through a very deep soul. But when you sit for Vipassana, then I am not remembering kirtan at all. Vipassana is a different technique. I am just trying to see the breathing or know the breathing or just get there and see what happens. So both are choices I make. Now as human beings, now what one should do then? Which one to pick up? Well, there is no right and wrong choice out here. Both are right choices. One can see an individual's temperament. Like for example, in this regard, Osho was very dynamic with his approach. He was not monotonous in his ways. So he recommended dynamic meditation. Then he also did meditation camps or practices where he would say, go within, who am I? He has done those camps. And dynamic meditation is quite the opposite of that. And then Osho has also gone into different angles of kirtana. At end of his discourses, he would encourage people to sing and dance kirtan. So many different approaches. Why? There would be same set of people who one day would be saying, who am I, next day dancing to kirtan, then other day doing something else. As a human being, simpler a person, he can pick one and just stick to it. But if there are, let's say, there are moments when a person need a shake-up, a physical shake-up of body to reset the whole system. So in those moments, one need to look for that day this technique of who am I may not work. Imagine an extremely depressed person who is depressed, who is suicidal or doesn't want to live, doesn't want to work, lazy bum. What will that person do? Give him who am I? He is already am I without the who. And his am I is already crushed, pulped. So what will that fellow do? This may not work for him in that moment. But now if you say this person goes to Ramana Maharshi, Bhagavan, you know there you get only one prasadam, who am I? What will happen to this fellow in that case? Interestingly, if this fellow goes to Bhagavan, the magnet in Bhagavan would remove the clouds of doubt, pessimism. That will be Bhagavan's kripa. That's what they say, Guru kripa, Guru prasadam. That's what Guru kripa is. So Bhagavan will still tell this depressed fellow, if he says, "Oh Bhagwan, I am depressed," Bhagwan will say, "Who is depressed? Find out." Now, if you tell this fellow in normal room where there is no Bhagwan, he is just sitting depressed, and he tells you, he or she, that, "Oh, I am depressed," and you say, "Find out who you are," he is going to kill you. He will either throw something at you, or I might do something funny. So, for him, in a generalized situation, who am I will not work. So, like for those shepherds who went to Bhagwan, for them, who am I may not have worked. I don't know. I am not trying to discount the moment in any form, but for them it would be, you make them clap and say, "Do Ram, Ram, Ram." They might find some immediate, based on their profiles and way they live. For them, Ram, Ram, Ram may make more effect rather than who am I. So, when you are approaching these both the techniques, be open to both, and then you see how your appetite is. We are intelligent enough. We are intelligent enough to put food in the mouth, not in the ear. We don't drink water with the nose, whether you are semi-literate, illiterate, or highly educated. We know these basic functions. So, similarly, like body functions are taken care of with basic intelligence, same way spiritual functions can also be catered in the same way. One need to be open about it. If the confusion still persists, then you can approach some spiritual soul, spiritual person, and ask for guidance. But most of the times you will find the way on your own. So, when you said integrating kirtana or the chanting into you, it is not that way. There is a flaw in that. You cannot integrate Hare Krishna, Hare Ram in you. It just possesses you. It is that build up of that symphony of that name, Nama, Naam Japa, that brings you to a point where vaporization happens of who you are. So, you will never find who am I in chanting. So, when people are chanting, ideally, just to give a little demo of the same, let us say I am chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, the Maha Mantra. It should be like what they say, watertight case. In legal parlors, they talk about, to make a good argument, a good case, they say watertight case. Like water is dense, you just cannot separate water from water. So, similarly, chanting should be like that. There is leaving no room in between for anything. So, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. So, just like going deeper with the names, that 16 words chanting, that is going into those names deeply. Just hearing that sound, Hare Krishna, and then integrating into that. Not integrating, just delving into that. So, it's just like when you see some kids, they do round circles. Now, they stand and keep rotating, and then they fall. Anyone will fall. Even if I do, we will make few circles going round and round, and then you fall. What happens? You lose balance. Why? Because you are making circles non-stop in a certain rotation. Similarly, when you do chanting non-stop and leaving no room like a watertight case to your mind, this chanting will dissolve you. You will not be able to say, who am I? You will not be able to think anything else. The chanting becomes so deep. And then if let's say it's a point, you touch that point, just like a kid touches a point, he falls, and for a moment he can't even stand. So similarly, when you chant, and then you will fall into the Naam, the Japa itself. That's like, I've never understood this expression, falling in love. I don't know why they fall in love. Maybe it could be close to what I am saying, like falling in Naam. It's just like a pond or a nectar pool, you fall into it. So while doing this, like just as the child falls on the floor due to his action, the japa will bring you to a point where you fall in Naam, and in that moment you will, I won't say you will pass out medically speaking, you will pass out, no, but you will be near about that edge, and suddenly you are like, something orgasmic will happen. So people who understand sex, so sex in a way, that's why it attracts everybody so much. It brings orgasm to a person. All the hula la about it, all the gymnastics about it is all about reaching the orgasm. You take orgasm out of the sex, sex is nothing. It is the most stupid act to be witnessed, seen, done, or even imagined. Ask anybody who is doing sex. We all have done it in some form or the other. What it is all about? It's just one orgasm, that moment. To catch that moment, it's just a little moment. To catch that moment, oh, imagine. I mean, that's what Maya. I sometimes just wonder, somebody gets married. Somebody gets married. Fine, if you are getting married for a partner, companionship, good. But sometimes people are just getting married for orgasm. And it tickles my funny bone. Just to wonder, because the newly young couples, I mean, even if I would have got married in my time, it would be for this only. I did not understand anything about companionship, not ABC of it. Although one will dress it up in a way to suit the institution of marriage, institution of society in so many ways, but no. Gradually people get companionship. They get other perks of being married, like food, clothes, security, emotional shelter, all those things. But if you tell anybody, okay, let's say you can explore this, just go to anybody who's going to get married. Probably they understand, hope, with this assumption they know what orgasm is, and mostly people know. In today's world, teenagers, or maybe in their pre-teens also, they know what orgasm is. The moment the puberty comes, that's what it is called. They realize what it is. Now you tell these people, fine, you whatever you have heard about orgasm, it doesn't happen in marriage. Now then you ask a question, will you want to marry? Majority will run. They won't be interested. So bringing back to I think we drifted from the question, and the bringing back to that focus of falling. So that moment is orgasmic moment. The spiritual orgasmic moment. That same moment, without an inch of difference, you will come through the way of who am I, without a fraction of difference. So with who am I, the approach would be different. Suppose someone is approaching the hilltop. Somebody paraglided, somebody sat on a donkey and went up. Both their experiences are different, but on the hilltop they are same. So with intense who am I, delving deeper and deeper and deeper, you will come across an absolute same experience that comes from the other side, say chanting. their timings will be different, the time taken to go there, the process, the taste, the experience, everything will be different while they are getting processed. So, orgasm is orgasm, whether it is a daily laborer in the sexual sense, a daily laborer, or some princess getting married to some prince, both are experiencing the same orgasm. In quality of orgasm, there is no difference. Likewise, spiritually, when you attain the inner blooms, there is no difference at all. Doesn't matter you are a Muslim or you are a Hindu, Sikh, whether you wear clothes, you remain naked, you do this mantra, that mantra, who am I or who that is, not this, whatever. Anything and everything brings you to the same. That's what Ramakrishna has beautifully said, Jato Mot Tato Path, as many ways, all lead to God. All are taking you to God as long as you walk on them and you practice them. I think we are done.
There's more, but I think the point is made.
This one is done.
So it's now for me as an answer, what I get is after a point you choose one and go with it, because
So we can just look at that also. So what happens now? Like for example, say I know both, have been through both. So what should I be doing? It is just your choice. Some days your energies are such. Let's say I am practicing who am I every day, but someday my energy is such, I am in a very bubbly dancing mood or a depressed, whatever could be the case. In that moment, I would like to chant. I would not insist to myself, oh no, I am a who am I practitioner, why should I chant today? It is against my practice. No. Both are essentially the same.
So when we face such moments where, let's say, I'm depressed, in fact, I feel like that is the point where you push yourself to who am I, to really experience that thing without.
Yeah, exactly. So the who am I can work and may not work. Or let's say it works for you 100% of the times in all situations. Let's not create an exception, because then, see, that is why these religions, different religions, insist that there is their only right way. All other ways are wrong. Look at Muslims. They say any kind of idol worship will kill you, will put you into that Brahma, the doubt, the Brahm. And look at Sikhs. They say if you don't get baptized by taking Amrit, you will not see the Vaikuntha. I mean, to the point, in my childhood, I used to hear stories which are part of my learning back then. They said, now I would see other people cutting their hair and all, and me being a Sardar keeping hair and beard. Beard happened later, but keeping this here. For kids, it is a big ask, to keep that. So I would say, so I was told that if you fall into the hell, the narka, the Guruji is going to hold you from the hair and take you out. So then I would say this makes sense, because all these fellows don't have hair on their head. They will all will burn in hell in that case. So what happens is, end of the day, this religion start saying that there is the only way, because there is one comfort in that you are not following two. Your brain is not taxed to process or understand different means and methods. So therefore, they will insist, and they will say, if you look at the other or you follow something else, you will be like doomed. So therefore, which is okay in that case. So let's say, so people, and the results are positive only. The only thing is, the drawback of such approaches is it creates fanatics and orthodox sects. They become very close, they become just blind in what they do, and therefore they what will a blind person enjoy in a garden? Only his blindness, nothing else. So similarly, one should be open for approaches. But let's say, coming back to the question, 100% of times you get the results by who am I, say. But let's say one day you want to just chant. There is no stopping then. Please don't stop. Don't bar yourself by saying that, oh no, I shouldn't be chanting. That is.
So it's more like you're doing your academic study, that is your first priority to top your studies, etc. But then there's also cultural programs which you don't want to lose out on. So sometimes it's okay. So one should primarily have that one thing that you're, after to get to that experience of oneness. And then you also know that this chanting also gives me a bliss. So sometimes I could enjoy this also. It's not like I'm running after something totally different, but you're indulging in something similar, but that's not what you're pursuing. What you're pursuing has to be that focused one approach.
Yeah. We can draw any n number of analogy, but the result will be same. So do something, do both, do single, but do. But in the process you may find something suiting you more. Like all great sages have said, whichever practice you pick up, practice it for few months. Then you see, if you are not finding results, suppose I give you a mantra or a way to do something, and you are not finding the results at all. You are drawing a blank, nothing. Even doctors change the medicine. So you should go back to the person or review your practice. Then you are eligible to change also, but only after due practice has happened, not prior to that.
Yeah.
So likewise, all the things that you practice, and then you can just go from there.
Yeah.
That's all. So we close in here. Thank you so much.